What's up, guys? Welcome to a new day. I'm Stephanie Ryder, and this is the 365 Shares podcast. It's February 11th, 2024, and today's topic is affection. The Big Red Book says our false self constantly seeks outward affection, recognition, or praise, but we secretly believe we don't deserve it. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and my partner and I are going to a party that one of our ACA members is throwing in a little bit. So I'm recording now just in case it's a long game or I feel tired later. I've been recording a lot at night recently, but I'm going to try to start recording later just because sometimes at night I'm tired and I feel like I rushed this a little bit, or there will be something going wrong with the editing process and I'll have to edit it and then re-edit it and then I have to listen to everything over again. So sometimes to make a 10-minute episode, it takes an hour. It could take more. And I'm just going to try to get it done right now. The topic is affection, and it talks about a lot of different things. It talks about trying to seek affection from other people because we don't have an inner source of self-esteem. It also says we look for affirmation from other people and we stop trusting our own intuition. And it says that if we get the affection that we think we're looking for, we don't even trust it or believe it because we don't believe that we deserve it. We secretly have this core belief that they're just seeing the false version of us, which they may be. And if they knew the real version of us, they wouldn't be heaping all this attention and praise on us. So it's a great passage in the Strengthening My Recovery book. There's a lot to think about as I go into my share. I'm Steph, and this is my share. I laughed when I opened the book today and saw that the topic was affection and that it talks about trying to look or present ourselves a certain way to get affection, because I just spent some time getting ready for a Super Bowl party. And I'm an Eagles fan, and I'm disappointed that the Eagles are not in the Super Bowl. And if the Eagles couldn't be in the Super Bowl, at least I was hoping that Baltimore could be in the Super Bowl because they're sort of a southern sister city of Philadelphia, and they had a really good season. So that was disappointing. So I'm not really up for either team today. The 49ers and the Chiefs have both beat us. The 49ers beat us in the playoffs. The Chiefs beat us last year in the Super Bowl, which really stung because we almost won, and I hated that so much. It would have been only our second Super Bowl win ever. But I am a huge Taylor Swift fan, so I am going to support Tay-Tay. So I did a red lip today and some winged eyeliner just to be Tay-Tay. And I was just going to do those two things. I was going to do moisturizer and then just like eyeliner and mascara and some lipstick. But I kind of just started going and it ended up being this whole outfit, and I pulled my hair back into a ponytail and then I curled it a little bit, which I rarely do. So I'm just excited. I think I look cute, but it's not really about impressing anyone at the party. It's just about me feeling like I'm part of the event, even though I'm obviously not there and it has nothing to do with me. But that's why I kind of laughed, because I'm actually like looking cute today and I put a decent amount of effort into looking cute today. So it was kind of funny to open that and see like, oh, we spend a lot of time and energy presenting ourselves in a certain way. There's a line in the Strengthening My Recovery book that says, we learned not to trust our own intuition. And it says that because we're always looking for affirmation outside of ourselves from other people. I definitely have fallen into this category. I think I've talked about this before, but I really looked to friends, family members, peers to affirm the things that I thought I wanted to do. And I always really wanted to get buy-in from people, like approving my decisions. And more, especially this past few months even, I've really just decided, you know what? I'm very different than most other people. The things that I like are very different. My path has always been very different than the traditional path of like school, career, retirement plan, marriage, kids, blah, blah, blah. I've really been going on a more circuitous path that has allowed for a lot of time for therapy, for recovery, for finding my true self. In some ways, I have a late start on some of my peers, especially around having kids. And even marriage, because I was married sort of, at the normal time people were getting married in my early 30s, but then was the first one to get divorced. And I'm still really the only person of my friend group from either high school friends or college friends who are divorced. My partner's also divorced, but I really just have had such a different path. And hopefully we'll have kids, but we'll be older parents, which is okay. The other thing that really stuck out to me from this passage in the Strengthening My Recovery book and that made me sad is a line that says, deep down, we knew we didn't deserve the recognition because our inner critical voice was saying, if they saw the real me, this wouldn't be happening. And this reminds me of experiences that I've had with a lot of people that I've dated and with my ex-husband, where I'm a very affectionate person. In a relationship, I'm very lovey. I like a lot of contact. I like to hold hands. I like to kiss. I give a lot of praise. Words of praise are important to me, and I do little nice things for people if I can. And I've gotten responses from some people that I've dated, and especially some people that I was really crazy about, that I was really affectionate toward, who just didn't have good enough self-esteem. And that sense that they thought they were defrauding me somehow, and that my affection was going to an illusion that didn't exist. It wasn't really going to them because they weren't deserving of it. And I think that I've had multiple relationships dissolve because the level of love and the level of affection that I was providing did not align with what they felt they deserved. And in the past, I've thought that some of this was related to maybe their upbringing, which probably is true. I think for the most part, the way people were treated in childhood is the way that they expect to be treated as adults unless they do their recovery. So I think a lot of times I've treated people better than they expected to be treated or that they felt they deserved to be treated. And there was really a disconnect between how they thought I should be treating them and how I was treating them. And in some cases, they've gone on to marry partners who I think aren't as affectionate and are even withholding of affection. And I've talked to some of them. I'm friends with some of my exes, and I know some of them aren't always happy with the level of affection or the level of connection or intimacy that they have in their relationships. But at the same time, they picked those relationships over our relationship, and they stay in those relationships because it feels like homeostasis to them. And what I was giving them didn't. And there even have been times with my current partner where he just didn't think that he was worth anything. And he still has moments that come out where his mean voice will say, I'm worthless, or I'm a loser. You could do better than me. And I always try to say that's not the case. I never tell you that. That's just your mean voice. And it's just something we need to work through. But it's really heartbreaking when I hear that from partners. And it makes it really hard for me because I don't want to treat someone worse than I want to treat them just to make it seem like the relationship is on track and make them stay with me. And there were a lot of instances in my marriage that the relationship started out really strong, I think. And then the more and more arguments that we had, and the more he wasn't hearing me when I made requests for things, I asked him to set more boundaries with his family than he was willing to do. I asked him to just do little things around the house or be a partner in certain ways that were important to me. He often wouldn't do them, wouldn't listen, wouldn't do them. And then I would get mad because we'd had the same discussion so many times and we'd have a fight about it. And then he would do it. And that pattern really continued. And I said to him so many times, you are positively reinforcing my negative behavior, where if I ask you nicely, you don't do it. But if I yell at you, you do it. And I don't want to be yelling at you all the time. This is work. This isn't how relationships, I feel, are supposed to be. But that kind of continued. And so when the only way that I could get what I wanted or be heard was to get angry and to yell, that's who I became. So by the time our relationship ended, it was really pretty volatile, but also not in a satisfying way. I've had a lot of volatile moments with my current partner, but they all resolve issues that we've had. I read in a book called Attached that part of an avoidant attachment style is that they never want to resolve issues because resolving an issue creates more intimacy, and they're really afraid of intimacy. So I think one of the issues in my marriage was that my partner never really wanted to resolve a fight. We just had the same fights over and over and over because if we resolved them and if we got on the same page, we would have too much intimacy, and that's not what he wanted. And I always want intimacy. I want to be like in someone's brain and in their face and holding their hand, sitting next to them. A lot to think about here, a lot to think about how I've been sort of people-pleasing and seeking of affection, either in appearance or in soliciting advice that I maybe didn't need, or in how past relationships have dissolved because the type of loving affection that I wanted to give just didn't align with what people were expecting or felt that they deserved. But I think that my behavior and my current partner's attitude about love have improved so much with therapy and with ACA, and I'm hoping they just continue to improve because the goal is to have a happy, healthy relationship where we can both give and receive love freely. I'll end today with the affirmation. It says, on this day, I put myself first and let others think what they will. I am enough just where I stand right now.